Does my makeup look all right?
No, but your hair is fantastic.
It's a hair down episode.
Yes, I love it. It's so beautiful.
There's a lot.
It's so beautiful. What, did I mess up your hair?
It's got a special
arrangement?
Special arrangement. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on it.
I remember seeing a picture of you when we visited your mom, and she pulled out some old photos from your early band days.
Yeah.
And you had hair it wasn't quite down to your waist, but it was
pretty
longer
close.
than that.
Yeah.
And you were so pretty.
I was a very pretty young man. There is a picture of me. I think I'm just like sitting on the couch or something, but it's like...
Yeah, but like you have this vibe and you're so just yummy.
I was going to say I look like a girl. I mean, pretty indistinguishable.
Maybe that's why I like you so much.
Who knows? I mean, not that I buy that you like me very much, but
I put on a good front.
I get where you were going with it.
Episode 48.
Yeah.
And we haven't missed a single week.
I know, it's been pretty amazing.
I can't believe it. It's because we just like doing it. It's like our
I
personal
know, we
diary.
were saying we really like
just like having
doing
it
it just for us.
Yeah.
Let's start by saying this podcast is sponsored by Performance High.
And?
Well, we lost the good people at the Chipotle by Nisi's. I made a few comments in social media that I now regret, and unfortunately the Chipotle by Nisi's is no longer sponsored, yes.
So the first thing would be the jam/karaoke thing. So that's a thing we do at Performance High. Well, to date, we've done it rarely.
Right.
Well, that's not true.
We really tried to make that a thing.
We've tried various formats.
We were doing it weekly for a while.
Bi-weekly, wasn't it? Was it really weekly for a while?
I think for a minute it was weekly.
And that was you and me.
Right.
Just trying to hold it down. We dropped it for a while because people were there was some attrition going on. And then we started it up again during the pandemic in a large venue that had good HVAC and we could all spread out. And that...
A huge, high ceilinged...
Yeah, with masks and everything. And that kind of just plodded along, kind of petered out. We've done 2 since then, I think. This is the second one of this style. Jam/karaoke. Yes, we've done 2.
2.
So the first one was really fun. This one on Thursday was a total blast.
It seemed
great.
like I was there, not for the whole jam, but I was there picking up gear, and it seemed like...
A lot of people were there.
A lot of people.
Yeah, the room was
really
full.
Well attended.
People were like jamming to everybody else singing, lots of like joining in or like just
that's so great.
Singing off mic, just like or Michael and Jonathan's friend all sang at the same time, like they were all looking at the same phone. It was so much fun.
Nice.
And we had a mom come in with her 2 kids who's been checking out Performance High for a while, but she wanted to get to know us.
Oh, okay.
And she had a great time. She texted me that evening with a video of me playing piano and was like, so great. I can't wait to get my kids into it. And
yeah.
So we're definitely going to do that more often. I'm thinking maybe even monthly, maybe every 4 to 6 weeks or something, because it just builds community, you know? It's great for all of our singers and all of our instrument players who there aren't much, but Jake on drums did amazing.
He really did. I actually did hear a song or two, and Jake has leveled up since the last time I heard him play drums. That's
so cool.
Without a doubt.
And Jake is completely blind, has been his whole life.
Yeah.
And he's killing it on drums, on songs he's never heard before.
Yeah, I know. They did a Doors tune, and he was throwing in some really like cool fills, and he just had the groove down, and it was just a random call it.
Yeah.
Song.
People were just like, can we do this song? And we're like, I don't know, let's listen. We pull out a phone and like run through it once, listening to it.
But what a room full of really great musicians.
Yeah,
Nate Marsh on bass, Joe Mondragon on guitar, who is a great singer and great vocal coach, but also a really great guitar player. I mean, just a really instinctual, amazing ear.
Yeah.
Great guitar player.
Yeah. Those guys showed me where I have next to level up. Let me tell you that. I was not holding my own.
The part I heard you totally were.
Oh, no.
But you were playing keys.
I was playing keys, and I haven't played keys.
That is not your...
For like Yeah, it's never been my thing.
Yeah, right.
Even though I was the keyboard player for Guitar Villains.
Right.
But that was a total, like, learn the part.
Learn the exact...
Learn the motif. Like, you play this here, there's some pads here. It's like, it goes like this here. It wasn't, like, call
just
songs.
Jam.
Yeah, so... But I'm going to have to get better at that. I feel like I'm good at picking out melodies with my right hand. That's easy. You've heard me do that.
You're insanely good at that.
It surprises me
it's
sometimes
scary.
when I'll hear a note and I'll just like reach over to the piano and boom, and it's like the right note. I'm like, really?
I've seen you do that. Sometimes I come to you and I'm like, will you figure this out for me? Like, will you just tell me what notes these are? I mean, like,
of course, easy.
I can figure it out, but it's going to take me 15 minutes. It's going to take you 30 seconds. Will you just tell me what it is?
Yeah. And I feel like I have gotten decent at hearing and anticipating on bass and being able to like visualize the shape on bass or let my fingers talk for me on bass. But following along with chords on a keyboard, I am really bad at.
Right.
Really bad. No practice. Never really was any good at it anyway. Oh well.
Yeah.
I'll get better through these jams.
Did better than I would do. Great room of players, though. What a cool thing.
Yeah, that was fun. We're going to keep doing that.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, and I would love to be there.
How come you weren't there? Huh?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I was finishing up pre-production for the local band Ipecac. Don't want to make this one long, but it's kind of interesting because the old school live in the room, let's work on the tunes, let's work on the arrangement. And then the plan originally was that we were going to track basic tracks live, which sometimes people still do. And back in the old days, that's what everybody did, meaning drums, bass, guitars. You would actually like set up and track them live, everybody playing together. And then you'd redo the vocals and if you needed to and add backups and add extra stuff. And maybe you wouldn't do the guitar solos live in the room. You'd leave that open. And that was the plan with Ipecac. But due to scheduling and a bunch of other reasons, just some technical reasons too, we decided we wouldn't do it that way. But we did an interesting thing, which is really loosely and roughly track them playing the songs live in their rehearsal space. And when we got a take that we felt like, oh, that felt really good, we said, okay, so now that is the template for that song. And what I'm doing is going in and making a moving click track that follows, although I gotta give Canyon, the drummer for Ipecac, is, for as young as he is, unbelievable time. I mean, they would start a song at 80 and maybe they'd go up to 81 and then the guitar solo would get crazy, maybe 81.5, and then they'd knock it and then they'd hit the end of the song and they'd have the outro riff and it'd be right back at 80. Like, it's just like no click. He was like...
Nice.
But the point is, a lot of the energy of that band, not that I have a problem with click tracks, but with that band, a lot of the energy was coming from stuff that was a lot of the juice of it, and I didn't want to lose that.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to figure out a way, how can we keep that? And I think we hit on a cool way to do it, which is having the band play and then making a template. You are slowing down half a beat a minute when it drops into the verse. You're coming back up. Double time plus a little. Like, not just double time, but double time plus a hair.
So when you're gridding drums, when you're editing drums, you're editing to this slightly floating grid is what you're saying.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I used to do this sometimes with bands that I would record bands where back in the early 2000s, some drummers just absolutely could not play to a click track. Like, there was it just wasn't going to work. And which coincidentally is why the only reason I would get drumming gigs, because I'm not a good drummer, but I can stay on a click. Basically what you do is you go in and you kind of, Pro Tools has a way, it's a lot of editing. Tell me what tempo this bar is at. Tell me what tempo this bar is at. Tell me what tempo this bar is at.
Oh, wow.
Basically, you just go through and you cut on the ones, the kick drums on all the ones, and you say, bar by bar, what tempo is this? And it gives you a readout of out to 4 decimal places. This was 80.5374. And then, so what you do is for that 8-bar section, I will average that. So you were more or less, let's average it to 80.3. And for this next 8-bar section, let's average that you came down to 79.8. Justify everything so that it now fits that average. And that's how you can make a moving click track.
What happens when you're going from one of those sections to the other, where you're like going from maybe 80.3 to 79.8? Is there any sort of gradual change, or is it a small enough tempo change that it doesn't matter and you can just like go right from one to the other?
That's a great question. That's It's a very smart question. And what I find is that it matters by taste. Like sometimes, yeah, it is cool for it to just bop, make that tempo change. Some of the Adrian O records do that, where right on a chorus it will jump up.
We did that. We were like, well, we started doing that because we were unable to stay on the click in some songs. We were always pushing ahead,
and so we realized what the song actually did. Was it did speed up in a certain,
and we needed to do that. It wasn't a fault of the drummer or of us.
Right.
You know?
It was just that, yeah. And then other times what you do is, let's say we've got an 8-bar section and we drop it down to 79.5. And often in that last 4 or 2 bars, I'll bump it up as it goes. Right. And then, a lot of times what you want out of a song is you want it to be robotically like right here. And then other songs just don't. And that's what I was kind of realizing about Ipecac. Some of the earlier songs we did, they worked great, just straight on a grid. But these new batch of songs, I was listening to rehearsal recordings and a couple of recordings they did live. And I was like, man, part of this is that this music moves a little bit. And just when they hit the double time to do like a double time guitar solo, it's just a hair more than double time.
I like that you are not a purist in either sense. You're not like, the tempo of this song is 103, so we have to grid it at 103, and if we go up or down from that, then that's a failing musically. Nor are you one of those people who's like,
oh, the click
takes all the emotion out of a song. Yeah. We really need to float with it. Like, the song tells you what it needs.
The song tells you what it needs. That's really the taste. Yeah. And if you go back and listen to classic songs from all eras, there are ones that are ridiculously rock solid, and there are ones that move all over the place. And that's just... the song tells you,
we agree on pretty much everything musically. Anyway.
I know, it's pretty funny. We were talking about that last night. Yeah, it is weird that we have similar, but it's really fun. And this was a cool way. And now that we've got this mapped moving click track, we can go in and record all those instruments individually, starting with drums, and then make sure he's super locked up to that moving click track.
So you're not going to re-record the drums after?
No, I am going to re-record the drums.
I mean, you're not going to use that template that you just got? Like, that's just a time template?
I'm going to use that just to make the time template.
Oh, wow.
And then go back in and re-record drums with that moving click track where it moves.
Why don't you keep the drums you already have recorded?
Well, because we were just doing a rehearsal recording with everybody playing the same, and there's a ton of bleed into the drum mics.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
We were just doing it in the rehearsal space, quick and dirty. I've been working on a 2-mic method for recording drums for several years now, experimenting a ton, which, by the way, if you care to know, it is 2 drumsticks in height off of the inside of the snare, the side of the snare that's kind of between your legs. So off that inside rim, go up 2 drumsticks and 1 inch.
That's pretty precise.
Yeah, about 2 fingers. And then angle that mic a little bit more towards the floor tom, because the one thing it doesn't pick up in that position great is it gets a little too much hi-hat and it doesn't get enough floor tom. So if you just kick it over to the side, it gets kind of a remarkably good picture of the kit.
So is that a 1-mic method? Or?
And then you throw a kick mic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Which, for some kinds of music, it gets plenty of kick too, because it's also looking at the beater side of the kick.
Right.
So it gets a really good picture of the kit.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have a kick mic that's on its own, it gives the kick a lot more that modern kind of punch. I don't know that I'd ever put it on a record, but in fact, to be fair, some of your cover stuff
my 20 covers in 100 days
was
from
done
last year.
More or less roughly that way. Whether you play drums or I play drums, I set up with that basic
that's pretty cool.
Formula. And kind of once a month, if I have an extra half hour, I break out a mic and couple of mics in the drum kit and just move it around and what if I put it here? What if I put it there?
You're such a nerd.
I know. That is pretty nerdy.
So that was, Thursday night, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Friday night, you were either working late? You were working late and you were feeling sick.
Oh, I was. Yeah, I was working late and got sick.
So I went out without you. I went to see Tyler Howell and the Country Club. So he's a new voice client of mine and is going to soon be a performance and AD, artist development client of yours. And our friend Ryan Elwood plays in his band.
Right.
So that was really fun to go see. He was playing at a VFW called Doogie G's.
Yep.
And
out in Thornton.
yes, and I got asked to dance like 4 times.
I'm surprised it was only 4.
And I always felt so bad. Like, I don't know these dances, and I was there to try to gather information for working with Tyler. Like, it's one thing to work with someone in a practice room during a lesson, and it's a totally different thing to work...
See what they're doing
See what
live.
they're doing live. Like, how are they using their voice differently? What's the show like? Especially since he wants to work on the show, not just the voice. So I was just trying to sit there and pay attention. So, you know, these guys would come over and ask me to dance, and I'd be like, thank you, but I'm like, I'm working. And they'd be like, you're what? And I'm like, I'm his vocal coach. I'm working. And they'd be like, what? Okay, whatever. And they would like walk off. They're just confused. Like, this doesn't happen. Like, people are there to dance. That's what people go for. And
Tyler Howell does country music similar to my buddy Eric Golden.
Yeah. Eric's actually playing there like next week or something.
Yeah, they play a lot of the same venues. Yeah. And that kind of country music is, number one, very oriented towards people dancing. And number 2, there are prescribed dances. So there's all these, I don't know.
None of which I know.
I don't know the dances. I know what songs go with what dances. So you got the two-step and you got the cowboy cha-cha and waltz and et cetera. Anyway, so everyone knows the dance that goes with these songs.
Except me. I mean, I'm sure they would have been happy to teach me. Yeah. But, so I'm turning these guys down, partly because I'm just shy. I just don't want to, like, go dance on the stage in front of everybody.
And to be fair, you're working.
And I'm working.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to pay any attention to him while I'm dancing. But like one of the guys asked me to dance, and Tyler saw it happening from the stage.
Oh no!
And he called it out. He's like, "Oh, Adrian's turning him down. That doesn't happen very often." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed." Apparently, I turned down like the dude, like the guy who's apparently.
Oh, that's what he meant.
That no one ever turns this guy down, and he's always there. He's like,
"That's hilarious."
I don't think anyone asked me to dance after that.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure not after Tyler called it. That's so great. Well, and you said it was a great time.
Yeah, I mean, band. he's doing like, I think everything you can do in that kind of situation. The challenge, like you are facing with Eric, is how do you go from the honky tonk, the bar, the VFW, to the Nieces,
right,
or the Oriental, like to the like, bigger ticket, larger audience sales.
Because it's a different.
It's a different function.
It's a different function. That is the thing.
Although, like the Grizzly Rose could be a good type of thing to aim for.
Yeah, and there's a place in Colorado Springs I can't remember the name of that's bigger. It's like Nieces size, but it's based around being
Stargazers?
a country dance bar. No, it's a something Corral or whatever.
Okay.
Not important. There are bigger venues, but the point is there's that function of a honky tonk band, which is to get people dancing, keep people dancing. Eric does this great job of organizing the flow of the dances, like so that you've got this dance and then you don't put 2 of the same dances, and like people are going to want to do a cha-cha after a 2-step because that's a fast one, and he organizes the up down of the set the way we do. He organizes that around the type of dances, not really the energy of the song, but
yeah,
how do you keep people dancing? And
I would know nothing about this. I'm so glad you're going to work with him.
Eric knows way more than I do.
Okay.
I know what I know from playing with him.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely, have learned a lot playing those gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler was Friday, and then Saturday.
Saturday, I went to see Wendy Wu and friends at the Fox Theater.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I hadn't seen Wendy play in a long time. So Wendy's coming back into my orbit. I mean, we've known about each other for a long time. I mean, I can remember back before I was in music, or maybe I was just getting into music, and I became aware of who she was. And one of my water ski buddies at the time said he always hired Wendy Wu for his birthday party, and she's like on this pedestal to me. And so like as we circled each other, I'm always like, oh, Wendy, like, oh my gosh, so amazing.
She's Colorado royalty, though.
Yeah.
I mean, she is. She really is.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. Yeah.
So, Performance High has been expanding and looking for locations we can easily start offering lessons in. Well, she apparently would love to share her teaching space in Loveland. So we have a teaching space in Loveland now. Like now. Things are happening so fast.
I know, you were showing me the website. and all the locations that are
I
on
know.
the website
Like
now.
just in the last week, we've gone from like kind of, well, I mean, it's all still aspirational, to be honest, but we've gone from like, you know, Denver, Broomfield, Parker. I think I had FOCO listed because we're kind of like trying to get into FOCO, for, you know, Fort Collins, NOCO, North Colorado. And I put, and soon West Denver. And then Wendy's space came through. And so now we have, quote, have a Loveland location.
And 2 teachers that can teach out of there.
Yeah, 2 teachers who teach there.
Both named Kristen. But go on.
And then Fort Collins, I mean, it's still a temporary location, but it's a location. It's a private house. And then we got an inquiry for a West Denver, quote, I mean, there's no place called West Denver, but I didn't know exactly where we were going to land. So I just put West Denver, hoping that somebody would want a lesson in West Denver, and somebody did. So I picked a place. Which,
is this the music?
The Music Range.
Music Range. Yeah.
Yeah, we had 3 options that I was looking at, like places that rent music spaces to people.
Rehearsal spaces.
Teaching spaces. And I settled on the Music Range. So I was like, well, I'll call that our West Denver location. I'm actually calling it Lakewood because it's in Lakewood. So now it's Denver, Broomfield, Parker, Fort Collins, Loveland, Lakewood, and online.
Yeah.
And they're maybe only in a small sense, but they're real.
Right.
They're real places.
Well, but that makes so much more sense to, rather than renting your own retail space.
Yeah.
And then having all that pressure, see how it goes. And then conversely, you could pack up and, just so it's a really smart way.
Yeah. You know, we were just talking this afternoon about how, like, I used to be in a music careers mentoring program that was largely aimed toward guitar teachers and their schools. But the consensus among the group back then was, you know, should I start a second music school? Should I get a second location? And the consensus was no, just try to grow with the one you have. Like, you're just going to spread yourself too thin if you have a bunch of locations. And so I think that's part of why I hadn't even thought this way until very recently, because it's like, we have 2 locations already. How would I spread myself so thin if we just tried to expand everywhere? But then I realized in that vision, like around Christmas, the same system and the same team can serve all of these locations. And the locations aren't new build-outs. They're not like big new leases.
Right.
They're hourly rentals. There's no risk.
And you already have the system and you already have the team.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, just
see what works.
See if you can get more work for the existing. Yeah. Wow. That's so great.
So anyway, so Wendy, it was really fun. She's kind of calling it a 30th anniversary show because she started working at the Fox, I think, as a bartender 30 years ago.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. So,
she had lots of guests come in, and one of the guests, has been she's been in her band forever, Robin Hoke. Okay. Who we're friends on Facebook. We don't know each other very well, but we've, crossed paths. Anyway, she was singing some beautiful backups and playing guitar and playing violin and playing hand percussion, doing all this great stuff. The show finishes, and Kristen and Callie and I go out to the merch table to wait for Wendy to show up. And Kristen comes out, and she's like, Adrian! And I'm like, hi! And I didn't realize that she remembered me. And she remembered that we played a show at the Taste of Colorado a long time ago, and her band was on after us.
Oh, gosh, that was a long time ago. Yeah, well, that was so great, though. And it was so great you got to hang out with Kristen Page.
Yeah. Kristen Page went, and our mutual student, Callie Truman. All 3 of us, actually.
Oh, so yeah, right.
You've worked with Callie on artist development, right? Uh-huh. And Kristen Page is her piano teacher, and I'm her voice teacher. So
wow.
It was really cool to hang out and just show her,
great.
Music life. And the show was fun, lots of guests and
Brian McRae was apparently on it.
David Durbin also drummed. I'm going to miss a lot of people. Jason begins with a B on bass. Casual, loose and fun, that's like playing it by ear
cool.
sort of thing, which I would not do well in, to be honest.
Well, that's not, we were talking about that. That's not what we necessarily do.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, and to be fair, even as worked out as Petty Nick's thing is, that's got some room in it.
A little.
I
mean, we know where that room is going to be. And the song still, it's like the
song.
That's
probably more fair.
The song goes like this, and then there's room to move, and then the song.
And then it goes like that. Yeah. That's the good point. That's a better point. So we usually just do stuff that's just a little more worked out. And that's what it's supposed to do. It's not the one is better than the other. There's the fun, let's hang out. The audience, in a way, is part of the show because, they're seeing it unravel in front of them and whatever.
Unravel?
Yeah, not in the negative way. But anyway, and then our thing is we usually tend to do just a more worked out thing that's supposed to just be a
Yeah. And that gives me a sense of confidence and control. I like that. When I used to go to those jams jams, not open mics, but like I would go to Nate's jam at Live at Jack's.
Right.
And the Local 42 jam. Those were freaking terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, at least at Nate's, I could have a song picked that I'd worked on.
Right.
So that wasn't as terrifying. But the Local 42 ones were scary because you just sign up and you're like, Adrian, bass and vocals if you want. And he would, Blake Mobley.
Was it Blake Mobley?
Yes, it was Blake who ran
cool.
that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. He would call, he'd be like, okay, this person on drums, this person on bass, this person on keys, this person on vocals. You all get up and it's like, and guitar. And then you all got to figure out what to play.
Right.
And sometimes there would not be a singer, or sometimes there might be a singer, but they didn't know what to pick. And so you're standing on stage, like, everyone's like, so what do you want to play? I don't know, what do you want to play? And so a lot of times it came down to me. It was like, I can sing too. So I'd be like, well, Seven Nation Army again? I mean...
Yeah, right.
or this Alice Merton tune. Like, I'm trying to pull stuff out that I can both sing and play. Or alternatively, I am trying to keep up with someone who calls a song I've never heard of.
Right.
Terrifying. I like to know what's going on.
Right. I tend to as well. I mean, I used to when I was 17, 18 years old, I used to go to lots of blues jams. It was a chance to get up and play with some of the older guys. But those were a little different because, the jams you're talking about, that could just be anything.
Yeah.
Blues jams, it's like, well, it's going to be one of 50 songs. So,
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We should talk about pop choir. I was literally thinking about that when we went to the gym today. I was thinking about how cool of a thing that's going to be.
We did a little promo for it today, which you'll see somewhere on social media. Joe and Alyssa and Raylyn and I got together at Studio One, and we learned the 4-part harmonies to Some Nights by Fun.
Wow.
That's going to be one of the songs they do.
Okay.
And so we did it, and then we recorded a TikTok, and then we recorded a few other TikToks, which are going to be fun.
Yeah.
This pop choir is going to be a 7-week class, I believe, starting mid-February. I don't have the details handy. I guess I'll put them in the description. This is a new thing for us, but it's going to be super fun. It's not just an a cappella group. It's going to be backed by a live band, and the pop choir is going to perform at the Hard Rock Cafe. So it's going to be really fun.
Oh, okay. They're going to do the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe Mondragon is the coach.
What a great chance for people to learn and practice singing harmonies.
Mm-hmm. We've gotten a lot of requests for that.
Right. Well, it's a skill that you should really have. Not a skill I have, but it's a skill people should.
When you worked on it, you got better. You got much better.
Yeah.
Did it go away? Do you not have that skill anymore?
I'm just out of practice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, what a cool thing, and it's that material that is more contemporary stuff. It's not just doing choir where it's going to be kind of weird stuff, and Joe, you couldn't have a better teacher. That's going to be great. Once again, thanks for listening.
Oh, and who's our sponsor?
The sponsor is Modelo.
Beer again?
Special. I guess, though, I would like to end on with a sincere apology to the good people at the Chipotle by Nisi's. I'm so sorry that I said the things that I said.
You were nasty.
I was
on Twitter.
You were
Twitter.
I got on Twitter and I needed a punching bag and I chose the Chipotle by Nisi's. I don't know why, you're my favorite place. I was hurting, so I wanted to hurt someone.
He does not have a Twitter account.
I don't have a Twitter account. None of this is real. Anyway, that wasn't great. Let's call it.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.